Hello and welcome to another edition of Forkful of Noodles. I am Krish Mohan. Terrorism. It's coming for everything you believe in. It's gonna destroy everything you love. It'll destroy all your buildings, all your material possessions, and leave you with nothing but rubble. Hide your children because terrorism is coming in waves. It's lurking in the shadows for the right time to strike. Its weapons are fear, confusion, explosives, and possibly a Toyota truck. And the only way to counter this terrorism is to use more fear, to breed more hate, and marginalize a whole group of people. And then we bomb them with drones. This is the propaganda that is used every time there is a terror attack in the world. The recent attacks in Beirut and Paris are not only tragic because of the lives lost, but because of how quickly we are ready to stoop to the same level of hatred and violent retaliation that has been propagated by the other side. There is another wave of rampant Islamophobia in this country based on the fact that ISIS took credit for the attacks. Of course they did. ISIS is like that guy in your office that just watches cat videos and then spams your inbox with them. Then he gets put in the same group to do that new project for the Bloomberg account, and all he does is keep watching more cat videos. And then when you have a great presentation, he chimes in at the end and he goes, "You know, most of that was my idea." Shut up, Charlie. That wasn't your idea. Your idea is watching Mr. Mittens play with a string for 3 whole minutes. But much like Charlie, ISIS is going to take credit for almost all the violent crimes being committed around the world to make them look better in the terror community. That bombing in Paris? Yeah, that was us. Tornado in the Midwest? That's us too. Oh, what's that? Home invasion in London? You're looking at the masterminds of home invasion. Someone ate your sandwich at the office? Yeah, that's us. ISIS in your mayo, bitch. Ben Carson making up maps? We would actually not like to be credited with that. ISIS uses the internet to breed hate-based propaganda to recruit people in the Western and European countries. They're getting most of their members using social media and apps developed by startup tech companies. It has nothing to do with the Muslim faith. It has everything to do with advertising. Feeling depressed? Sad? Like a big dumb loser? People yelling at you about your faith and ethnicity? Well, get your revenge on them by joining ISIS. For the cost of your life, you can ensure that all of democracy and human rights get set on fire from what used to be your mortal body. Unleash hell to get to heaven. Join today. Visit destroytheinfidel.org for more information. Side effects may include death and besmirching your family name. They're manipulating people to join their cause to make a whole world's population hate the Muslim community and split us all down the middle. ISIS doesn't stand for the Islamic faith despite what their tagline and billboard says. The current issue with the Islamic faith, other than the world pointing fingers at them, is modernizing. Some of these countries where the Islam faith is prevalent are stuck in the 700s in terms of how they treat people. If you're willing to stone someone or execution is your first answer, you're stuck back in time. This is not exclusive just to Islam. If ISIS, a terror group, is using modern technology to take everyone back to the year 700 like the worst reboot of Back to the Future, then the real members of Islam can use technology to adapt to today, like Terminator. All they need is better advertising than those hate-mongering douchebags. Looking for a religion with a short list of core values, like helping out your fellow man? Join the Muslim faith. We believe there is only one kind of God, kind of like Catholicism. We want you to pray only a few times a day, and you can do this anywhere. No building required. Give to the needy, because we're all one and we all deserve a helping hand when we're down. Remember to fast on Ramadan, and go visit your deity every once in a while. You never call. If you're cool with this stuff, come on down and join the Muslim faith. No money down. Ever. Just don't vandalize our mosques. This is what Islamic reformers and scholars have been trying to talk about, while all the GOP candidates are trying to ban things like diners and cafes, which inspire radicalism. Literally, Marco Rubio just said we need to stop ISIS by shutting down places where they meet, like coffee shops and restaurants. So, no more freedom. Wait, isn't that the same thing that ISIS wants? For us to live in fear and have our freedom of eating bacon waffles at 2 a.m. be taken away from us? Oh dear, space crystals. Marco Rubio has been infiltrated by ISIS and the radicals. If you look at all the things the current GOP is proposing, perhaps they're all in cahoots with ISIS. They're ready to turn over this country's freedoms for more war and falsified security. This is the same advertisement that ISIS has, except the GOP is letting one woman at the shot at the top. The world has called for war. The war on terror, on the Islamic State, which people believe represents the Islamic religion. It doesn't. It's just branding. Just because McDonald's brand includes a smiling clown doesn't mean that any children are leaving any of their establishments with a smile. This is exactly something that ISIS wants, an unstable world where the best propaganda wins. But we've already done this. Remember the Greatest Generation? They did this after a mustached douchebag called for an entire group of people to be exterminated, and it yielded in a ton of people dying on both sides. It's time we got past this propaganda for war and more killing. Measures are being taken to lessen killings around the world. Hacktivists like Anonymous are taking down ISIS Twitters and websites. They're revealing information about where the next strikes are going to be faster than a drone killing, cutting off their source of recruitment, and not one person has been killed. One hacktivist was thought to have died, but she was just napping at her computer. But we can do more. We can stop jumping to conclusions that all Muslims are terrorists. We need to extend a hand to invite more Islamic countries into the 21st century and help them by showing them how to adapt their laws to a changing world around them. We already have stooped to the same levels of hate, and it's time to flip a switch. It's time to use this propaganda not for war, but for education. Propaganda to find out more about your neighbors and understand what they're about. Have you been living in suspicions of those around you? Do you have a gross, icky feeling about new people that come into your neighborhood? Well, we have a solution. From the makers of understanding comes communication. Just talk to them. Find out what they're about. They also probably like margaritas and apples to apples. Learn about them. Learn about their culture. Go to a library. Learn something. Anything. Everything. Turn off the TV. Communicate with your words instead of your fear and hate. It's time we looked within for those that are struggling and isolated and help them out. If ISIS can target them and offer them something that they are willing to give their lives up for, let's give them something to live for. Let's wake up and decrease the hatred we're breeding and turn it into something better. It takes 48% of your heart muscles to pump that venom through your bloodstream, but it only takes 31% of your heart muscles to pump acceptance and understanding. Your heart ruptures left and you live a lot longer. Even a Cheerios commercial can't guarantee you that long of a life expectancy. Let's turn the tools of hatred into tools of love and education.